Greetings, friends and fellow rebels, and welcome to the woods. For some reason, this has been a very difficult topic, so I'm going to try again to share this with you, and hopefully it'll go better this time. We were talking about psychic parasites, the non corporeal, in other words, other dimensional uh, entities or fragments of entities or elementals who leech off of humans. It's a problem for those who are telepathic in particular. Now, it will leech off of empaths as well, but it won't as often provoke them. In other words, it takes energy to throw emotions at someone. And what they're trying to do is harvest energy in emotions. So they don't really want to spend it. They want to create, if you can see them, they'll create a scary look, but most often they go for people who can hear them. Telepaths, sensitives. You know, what the psychiatrists call schizophrenics. If you hear voices, in other words, if you're telepathic and you can hear the thoughts of the people around you and the thoughts of other dimensional beings, you will be labeled schizophrenic and immediately be put on brain dampeners to destroy your ability to be sensitive, which is a perfectly acceptable way of proceeding if that works for you. Doesn't work for all of us. Some of us want to keep our natural gifts. And for those, I have a few suggestions, which will come in a little bit. First, I want to talk about what's happening here. So, when other dimensional beings notice that you can sense them, they will single you out and they will attempt to bother you in a way that will produce an emotional reaction, which they can then feed off of. If they can develop enough of a relationship back and forth where you notice them and thus they can hook into you because you've got a synergy going at that point, the longer they hook in, the more they become a steady presence, or shall we say, an unsteady presence in the life of those who are afflicted. Now, this isn't the only illness that is the result of a parasite, but speaking generally, it is one of the most bothersome issues that sensitives have, but particularly sensitives who have the mental abilities, the ability to communicate, to hear and project their thoughts. So, I think the best way to explain the first step in undoing this problem is share a little story with you. Now, I wish that our culture acknowledged multidimensional reality. I really do, because it would make it so much easier to train our children in how to handle themselves. Those who have the gifts of sensitivity, we could show them what to do to manage that so that they won't develop long-term issues or even short-term issues. But since we are in complete denial of reality, real reality, we have to kind of stumble along and make do as best we can. When I was younger and stupid, because generally speaking, when we're younger, we're stupid, I was asked, well, we were asked to help a young couple who, they talked to spirits. That was normal for them. But they were very concerned because their 5-year-old daughter was also talking to spirits. But the spirit, one particular one that she was talking to, was causing all sorts of problems. It was starting fires or convincing her to start fires. It was moving things around the house or convincing her to move things around the house. It was encouraging her to act up in ways that truly upset her parents. And that was the goal. While this thing was developing this wonderful relationship with this child for long-term leeching, the target at that point was the parents. It was feeding a prolific amount of energy from their fear and their anger and their upset and their sadness and their anxiety, and because those energies, those emotions are much easier to produce than the other kind of emotions, the happiness and the joy and all the rest of it. And fear and anger and all of that, they're very spiky. Anxiety, it's very spiky, so you can really get a harvest on that one with very little effort. So it worked through the girl. Now, they had tried to teach the girl how to shield herself, how to block this entity, and then they kept casting it out, getting rid of it, doing what you usually do to get rid of stuff like that. But it kept coming back. And when it would come back after a few days of rest, it would be seemingly even stronger in its influence. If I had known then what I know now, my advice would have been different. But what it boiled down to is the child was getting so much attention, both from the entity and from the parents, that she had never gotten before, that whenever they cast it out, get rid of it, unhook it, get it away, she'd call it back. She'd call it back. Because when it was around, she was the center of the household. And she felt great because she had this invisible friend who could do all of these amazing things and who was her friend and only her friend, special and wonderful. And she was the only one who could see and speak with this friend. If you want to get rid of these things, the first thing you need to do is revoke its invitation. Any sort of invitation you might have put out, intentionally or unintentionally, you need to revoke it. No more. Go. Gone. And then you need to turn around and pay no more attention to it. Don't listen to it. Don't talk to it. Don't look at it. Nope. Don't see you. You're gone. Don't think about it. When you pay attention to these things, you give them that link, that relationship, that synergy. It allows them to come back. It allows them to reside in you. It's like calling them on the phone. If you don't want to talk to them, don't call them. Gone. That's it. But very often, especially if they've been with you for a long time, you're going to need to replace that, the hole where the hook used to be. You want to replace it with something else, something healing, something wonderful, something that empowers you, something that makes you feel good about yourself, something that brings you joy. So whenever you get the edge of like almost thinking about the problem, you turn your attention right to the song, the activity, the person, the habit, the experience, whatever it is, meditation, yoga, walk in the park. Turn your favorite song on. Bake cookies. Whatever it is that centers you on you and not on this external problem. And if you slip up and it happens to come up, you banish it again and keep doing it. Keep doing it. Don't let it hook into you again. You don't need vampires. You don't need parasites. Revoke it. Fill the hole. There's more I could say, but we'll save that for another time. I really think this first step is probably the most critical one. And welcome to the woods.